Welcome back to the final episode of The Reappearance of Rachel Price by Holly Jackson. I cannot believe it is the end. I can't believe this is it. There's so much to tie together here at the end. We found out so much stuff. Carter. Is Carter going to be okay? What's going to happen because Jeff is helping Dad? Um, I guess Grandpa's not a part of it. I guess because he's old and has a stroke, unless he's just truly faking. Um, I don't know. But one thing I know for sure is this family will never be the same again. So let's just hop right into it. I know it's been a while, at least in real time, YouTube time. You guys are, you might have just been catching up. But let's pop into it. I'm so excited. So, oh my gosh, buckle yourselves in for this one. I'm not even going to say grab a blanket. I mean, yes, that too, but buckle yourself in. This is going to be crazy. Chapter 46. Hand in hand through the maze. Running. Belle's phone swinging at her side, lighting the way in nightmare flashes. Metal shadows loomed, catching their clothes, snatching their hair. A rusted saw blade in their path trying to separate them, but Belle would not let go of her mom's hand. A clatter of sliding metal somewhere behind, the distant sliver of the flashlight in Jeff's hand. Sharper, stronger than theirs, a spotlight stalking through the dark shapes. "I got one, Charlie," they heard him call. Charlie's voice, fainter. "Hurry!" "Keep going," her mom said, moving faster, holding Belle's hands tighter, skin to skin, bone to bone. Around a burned-out car on its back, a sharp intake of breath beside her. Rachel disappeared. Hand snatched out of Belle's. Belle swung the flashlight over. Rachel was on her hand and knees, shoe caught in a metal bar. "You okay?" Belle helped her mom stand and retook her hand. "I'm okay," Rachel said, a change in her gait now, a limp on one side, leaning into Belle's hand. It didn't slow her down. "Just gotta get to the car." The way cleared ahead of them, no more shadows and no more metal. Just grass downhill, pushing them faster. Rachel hissed each time her right foot pounded the ground. They reached the fence. Belle grabbed the loose panel of chain link, held it up for Rachel to clamber through. She followed, looking back at Price and Son's logging yard. A fence around nothing, just more darkness, except a faint white light glowing inside the red truck in the middle. "Come on, I parked in front of the gates." Running again. Not together anymore, out of time. Rachel's steps growing uneven. She pulled her car keys out and pressed the button. A blip as the car unlocked, a flash of white and red, guiding them forward, a map in the darkness. Relief sparked in Belle's run-down heart. They drew close and Belle's flashlight found it too. Rachel's silver car, waiting, nose parked right against the front gates. They drew close and Belle's flashlight found it too. Rachel's silver car, waiting, nose parked right against the front gates. But it wasn't alone. Another car faced them, Jeff's. He'd parked right behind Rachel, sideways, blocking her in. Rachel breathed out, "No, Jeff!" She darted forward, studying the gap between the cars. It was only a few inches, just the span of her hand. "Frick!" Rachel kicked out at Jeff's front wheel. It cost her, hissing and reaching for her right ankle. "Mom? Get in, Belle." She opened her car door, dome light flickering on. A faint yellow through the windows. "Maybe I can turn it. Have to try." Belle climbed into the passenger seat and shut herself in. Rachel started the engine, a metal growl in this cold metal place full of dead machines. The headlights flickered on through the bars of the gates, glaring against the old sign into the darkness beyond. Rachel's elbow bumped hers as she put it in reverse. Taillights stained the night red. Rachel pulled the steering wheel to the right as far as it would go, tires complaining, grating against the dirt road. She pressed her bad foot to the gas with the winds. The car juddered back, only half a second before it bumped against the side of Jeff's car. Rachel sniffed, put the car in drive, turned the wheel all the way to the left. The car shuddered forward, crashing into the gates with a dull thud. They bent inward, as much as that heavy chain around the middle would let them. Belle looked out the window. It wasn't much at all. The angle of the car had hardly changed. They were stuck here. Trapped. "Mom," Rachel gasped, leaning forward to peer through the windshield. Belle looked too. Two tiny figures crossed one of their headlight beams, into the other moving fast, out of the metal gaze onto the grass. Someone was ahead, a ball of light in one hand, something dark in the other, heading straight towards them. "He's free!" Rachel's hands dropped from the steering wheel. "We don't have time!" Terror reshaped her face. "Run, Belle!" Belle didn't hesitate this time, hard ahead of her, fight or flight fast against her ribs. She sprinted around the back of Jeff's car, catching up to her mom. Don't look back, just run! Belle couldn't help it. She looked back. Both car doors left open, letting the night in, engine running, headlights glaring. But it was another light she looked for, moving fast now, reaching the gap in the fence. The ball of light became a long silver beam, hacking away at the darkness, the sound of feet behind it. And a voice. Charlie, what are you going to do? The beam of light twisted, following them down the road. Hurry! Rachel pushed herself harder, gritting her teeth, breathing through it. Belle hooked their arms together, taking some of the weight off her ankle. I know the way. Belle's voice shook with the patter of her feet. The reservoir? Across the railway bridge to the main road. We can get help there. Charlie! Jeff shouted weakly, some way behind them. What are you doing? Did Jeff realize already that he'd made the wrong choice? That he shouldn't have set him free? Belle wanted to glance back to see how close they were, but she didn't need to. She only needed to look at Rachel, silver lighting up her flyaway hairs. The beam wasn't just following them anymore. It had found them. Charlie and his flashlight chasing them down. Mom, he's catching up. Rachel looked at her, one side of her face lit up, one eye, losing the rest of the night. Half here, half disappeared. Off the road! We'll lose him in the trees. Rachel dragged Belle into the tree line, and then Belle dragged her, the ground growing rough and uneven. Belle lit the way, much darker now, the trees looming over them, blocking out the sky, roots catching hold of their legs. They moved as fast as they could, darting through and around. The world tilted, reaching uphill, taking the trees with it. The breath was tight in Belle's chest, hauling Rachel up alongside her. Charlie! They heard a strangled cry behind them. Wait! He was somewhere in the trees, too, hunting them down. Belle couldn't see the silver beam. The trees were blocking it, hiding them. This way, Rachel whispered, pointing to where the trees thinned out and a path snaked up. The hiker's trail. They climbed together, picking up their pace. Belle could even see the moon through the canopy of shadows over the mountain, leading the way, and that way was up. Belle's hand grew sticky against Rachel's, but she wouldn't let go. How's your ankle? Rachel squeezed her fingers. Just have to keep going. Without warning, the trees broke away all at once in a clean line, letting the sky have them. The huge track where the forest had been clear for the power lines running in and out of town. They moved into the open exposed by the moon. Faster, Rachel said, but she was the one who couldn't move any faster. Belle eyed the tree cover ahead, racing to it, crossing the shadows of the power line, too clean and straight to belong in this wild place of moon and moonlight. They were so close. Belle looked back to check how far they'd come. A silver light emerged from the trees, the dark shape of Charlie behind it, charging into open ground. The beam shifted, veered over, pointed directly at them, straight to Belle's heart. Frick, he sees us. Go! She pulled Rachel into the trees, back on the trail. Up and up, just keep moving. Belle had made her choice. She chose her mom, and she chose her again, every single second. Fingers around hers, dragging her up as fast as she could, away from the man who was going to kill her. A howl behind, but it wasn't at the moon. Charlie, wait, what are you going to do? Belle knew, and Rachel knew. Jeff must know, too. She tried not to look at her mom, to read the pain in the set of her jaw, the fear in the blacks of her eyes. Where are we going? Up, Rachel said, eyes ahead, not sharing the fear, not letting Belle take any of it. Mascot mine. We can hide, lose them. Not far now. We can make it. Up and up, steeper and steeper. Belle's knees screaming, muscles burning. We have to leave the trail, Rachel panted. This way. The way the trees grew thick and untamed, leaning up the mountain as they fought their way through. Rachel dropped Belle's hand to climb up a steep pass on all fours, checking back for her. Flashlight catching the sheen of sweat across her face, a bloody scratch on her cheek. Belle retook her arm, choosing and choosing again. There was nothing left, only adrenaline, only fear, working together to keep Belle's legs moving, every breath snagging, ripping at her lungs. This way. Rachel veered off. The mine's here somewhere. It must be. The trees trickled out, making way for the moon, rocky beneath their feet. Belle held up the flashlight. They were on a ledge, the ground disappearing over there, a sheer drop into darkness. No, 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 Rachel limped, moving closer to the edge, and looked down. We came too high. Her foot nudged a stone and it rolled over the edge, clattering down the rock face. Belle never heard it hit the bottom. The mine is down there. Belle joined her, looking down into all that nothing, her light barely scratching the surface, stomach peeling away towards her spine. She looked ahead instead and saw stars on the ground, reds and whites and yellows, pinpricks of headlights, windows that glowed small as specks. It was Gorham, not quite sleeping, and Belle knew where they were now, wearing night as its disguise. lookout point, where you could see the whole town and mountains beyond in the day. Which meant the entrance to the mine was all the way down there, hundreds of feet below, over the ledge. It's okay. Belle took her mom's hand, pulled her back from the edge. We'll follow the trail down to the other side of Hogan Road. No, Rachel said quietly. She dropped Belle's hand, grabbing the other one instead, took the phone out of it, swiped the flashlight off. What are you doing? Belle blinked, eyes adjusting to the moonlight. It's the light he's following. Rachel passed the phone back, pressing Belle's hand closed around it, like Belle had done with the key. Belle, she said, a change in her voice, a break in the middle, like she had just decided something too. Rachel put her hands on her shoulders. No. Belle knew before she said it, shaking her head. I'm slowing you down, Belle. No, Mom. You run that way, she pointed, without the light. Be careful. Find the trail again. Keep going. I'll draw him here with my light. She said it fast and she said it hard. No, Mom, I'm not leaving you. It's me he wants. She shook Belle's shoulders, trying to get her to listen. Belle wouldn't. No. He won't stop. You keep running, my sweet girl. Her voice cracked, bringing Belle's face closer to hers, hands cupped behind her ears. Don't look back. No. The tears came all at once, blurring Rachel's face, losing it to the darkness. Please, Belle, I have to know you're safe. He's coming. Rachel pressed her forehead against Belle's, eye to eye, heart to heart. Tell the police. Don't let him get away with it this time. Don't let him get away with killing me twice. Mom, Belle cried, throat seizing around the word. Not a hard word anymore. The easiest one in the world. Mom. Go, Belle. Rachel blinked, tears of her own. I love you. So, so much. Take care of your sister for me. I know you always have. Mom! Go. Rachel pushed her away. Go. Belle went. Rachel said not to look back, but she did. From the tree line, saw her mom standing out there on the ledge, waving the flashlight above her head. Another star where it shouldn't be. Belle kept going, silent sobs that split her in half, gut ripping apart. The knot rolled right out, and she lost it forever in the wild, running away from Rachel, like the day she reappeared, scared then and scared now. Charlie, stop! Uncle Jeff's voice, somewhere in the dark. Belle stopped, breath trapped like the windstorm behind her face. The sound of feet crashing through the trees nearby, that silver beam pointing towards the end. And Belle was going the wrong way, the way that hurt far too much. She'd never lived through it, leaving Rachel behind. Rachel had never left her behind. Her mom had made her decision, but Belle had made hers too. She chose her mom. And she chose her again, even if Rachel didn't want her to. She went back. A scream building in her throat, following that beam of light, chasing it down. There you are! Charlie's voice filled the night, ragged and wild. Charlie, don't! Jeff shouted. You don't want to do this! Belle sprinted, breaking through the trees onto the moonlit edge. The flashlight was on the ground, that harsh silver beam pointing at Belle, two dark shapes entangled behind it. Mom! Belle screamed. Charlie had one arm around Rachel's neck, forcing her to the ground. She fought back, ankle buckling, scrabbling at his face. Belle jumped forward, but an arm caught her, dragging her away. It's not safe, Belle. Jeff held on to her, pinning her arms down. He's not safe. No, duh, Jeff. Frick you, Jeff. Sorry, that's my own personal thought. Let me go, she screeched, struggling against him. Not safe, he hauled tighter. Charlie roared, tackling Rachel, feet grating against the stone, two dark figures dancing towards the edge. Let go, Belle struggled. Jeff was too strong. Charlie, too, bearing down on Rachel. Her legs gave out, and she dropped with a dull thud, a few feet away from the edge. Charlie pressed one shoe against Rachel's throat, pushed his weight down into it. His ankle was bleeding, the cuff gone, cut free. She scrabbled and kicked, but he could not be moved. Mom! Belle scratched at Jeff's arms. Rachel spoke, voice breathy, crushed beneath his foot. Protect my daughter, Jeff. You owe me. Charlie didn't look over. He only had eyes for her. His arm grew longer than it should, overstretching, inhuman. Something dark gripped in his hands. Belle couldn't see what it was, not until he raised it up against the stars. An axe. A click in Rachel's throat as she looked at it, hanging over her head. If you want me to beg, you're out of luck, Charlie, she croaked. I've already been dead once. He shrieked. A sound that wasn't human either. An explosion of rage, no shape to it. A monster standing at the edge of the world, bringing it down around him. It moved Belle beyond fear to whatever came next. I should have done it myself, Charlie gasped, like the scream had crushed him too, only leaving half of him behind. Now look what you've done. He raised the axe. No! Belle screamed, fighting against Jeff. Rachel turned her head, found Belle. Don't look, she mouthed, eyes glittering before she pressed them together, waiting for the end. Mom! A scream. But it wasn't Belle. A blur of coppery brown hair shooting out of the trees, long legs bounding past. Jeff's arms loosened. Carter? He said, confused, letting Belle go. Carter! He screamed, running after her. But she was ahead, and she was too fast. Carter! That wrenched Charlie out. He glanced over just as Carter bounded into him. A double-handed push, shoving him away from Rachel. He stumbled, tripping over Rachel's arm, dropped the axe, and tripped on that too, staggering back. Jeff reached them, skidding, wrenching Carter away from the edge, throwing her behind him. Charlie was still moving, too much momentum, stones skidding under his feet. His eyes widened. He reached out for Jeff, grabbing a fistful of his brother's shirt. One of his heels dropped over the edge, the rest of the foot slipping with it. Charlie tilted, falling back, all into... Oh my gosh. Okay. Falling back into all that nothing. The other foot went. Belle blinked, but she didn't miss it. Charlie disappeared over the edge. He didn't let go, dragging Jeff down with him. One of them screamed, all the way down. That is chapter 46. They both died. Ooh. Dude, I didn't think we were gonna like just jump into it. I mean, I guess because like what we left off at. Oh my gosh. Chapter 47. Carter was on her knees, Rachel on her back, Belle her feet. Carter screamed into her hands, trapping it there, rebounding into her. Carter! Belle closed the distance, crashing to her knees. She wrapped her arms around Carter, held her head until the scream gave way. They're gone! Carter cried, voice echoing back through Belle's ribs. Rachel stood up shakily, resting her weight on her other ankle. She picked up the flashlight Charlie had dropped, the silver beam in her hands now, lighting the way. She limped towards the edge where Charlie went over. Belle joined her mother, feet firm, as Rachel pointed the light down, crags of rock sticking out like teeth below. The light didn't reach the bottom. They couldn't survive that fall, Rachel said, like she didn't dare believe it herself. Quiet, listening for any sound that would prove her wrong. I killed them? Carter said. No, Carter. Rachel turned back to her, bent low, pulling up her chin. You saved my life. I killed them. Carter balled her fists, pressing them into her eyes. I pushed them over. Dad's gone, but he's not my dad, is he? Charlie was... Ugh. Belle sat beside Carter, nudging her elbow, letting her know she was right here. Rachel's eyes widened, glittering again. Carter, you know? She said. That I'm your... Yes. Carter sniffed. Stars in her eyes, too, from the flashlight. Rachel's lips parted, dropped open. How do you know, sweetie? I guess I just sort of knew, felt it. All the ways we were similar, even though we weren't blood related. Just my aunt by marriage. How nice you were to me. How much you wanted to get to know me. I thought it that first time you picked me up from school, when I helped you with your phone. Or, really, I thought, isn't Belle lucky to have a mom like you? And how I'm not at all like my mom, and how weird she is with me and needles. Wouldn't let me get a blood test, even when the doctor said. I wanted it to be true, somehow, even though it was impossible. I ordered 2 kits from Ancestry DNA the next day. Told my dad it was dancing stuff. Frick, not my dad. Uncle, I guess. Carter stared out, beyond Rachel, over the empty edge where he had disappeared to. I did one on me, one on Belle. Belle blinked. What? When? I didn't want to tell you in case I was wrong, and you were so wrapped up in Rachel trying to prove she was lying, that she was bad. You wouldn't have believed me. You were asleep. I did the cheek swab. Belle remembered now, the morning Carter woke her up by poking her in the mouth. The same morning Belle woke up to find that her dad was missing. It seemed like a lifetime ago. That day, that version of her. Belle's results came in about 2 days ago, but didn't tell me anything. Carter looked up at Rachel. But mine came this evening, just before Grandpa's dinner. It said that me and Belle were full genetic sisters, that we shared both the same parents. She blinked, a tear sliding down the ridge of her nose. Which means you're my mom, and Uncle Charlie was... She left it hanging there, his name disappearing with her breath. Belle wiped the tear before it fell over the edge of Carter's nose, looking into the eyes of her little sister. Carter knew it before she had. The thing she needed to talk to Belle about on the stairs. It was important, she had said. Belle should have listened. Take care of your sister for me, her mom said, when she thought she was going to die. I know you always have. Belle took Carter's hand, clammy and bony against her own. My baby. They'd always been sisters, Carter taking care of Belle just as much, even when she didn't want to see it. Carter saved Rachel, and she saved Belle too. How did you find us? Belle glanced over at the lookout, at the tiny ant town beyond. I saw what the note said at Grandpa's house, Rachel's message, before Dad, Jeff, took it. He told me to stay, clean up the books, but I waited for him to leave. Waited longer, and then I left too. Your bike was out front, Belle. I got to the yard and couldn't remember where the gap in the fence was. Went too far. But I saw you both running to the car. Then I saw Dad and Charlie coming after you, chasing you. What Charlie had in his hands. So I followed them through the trees. I thought he was going to kill you. He was about to kill you. I'm sorry. She dropped her head. Rachel picked it back up, finger under her chin. You have nothing to be sorry for. You saved me from him, Carter. It doesn't matter that he was your father. He wasn't your family. That man was not worth saving. What about Jeff? She cried, more tears than Belle could catch. You didn't push Jeff. Rachel's eyes were both hard and soft. Charlie pulled him over. You did not kill Jeff. But he wouldn't be dead if Jeff made his choice, Belle said. He set Charlie free. He made his choice. And that was true. But he'd made another choice too. And maybe that undid the first. Protect my daughter, Jeff, Rachel had told him. You owe me. It was Belle she meant, but when it came down to it, it was her other daughter he'd saved. Gave his life for it. Rachel looked over the edge, and when she turned back, there was something new in her eyes. Carter, listen to me. Voice hard, the mother and the survivor. The DNA tests. Could police access those results if they went looking? Seeing that you and Belle are sisters? Don't think so. I unchecked the box about sharing information with law enforcement, just in case I was right. Good. Rachel exhaled. No one can ever know the truth. What do you mean? Belle straightened up. The world should know what they did to you. They are dead. Rachel pointed where they disappeared. That's punishment enough. The world cannot know. You two are involved now, and there was nothing I wouldn't do to protect you, keep you safe. My girls. Which means no one can know the truth. About what Pat did, what Charlie did, that Carter's my daughter. That you two were here when Jeff and Charlie... They're only dead because he tried to kill you, Belle said. Because I kidnapped him and chained him up. He did that to you first. He asked Grandpa to kill you. There's no evidence he was involved, Belle. One of them gone, the other has no memory of what he ever did. Don't you think I would have gone to the police if that was ever an option? But there is evidence here. This. She pointed harder. A crime scene at the bottom of the drop that leads back to us. Carter saved us, but that's not what it looks like. Rachel's eyes flicked down to Carter, sitting there on the rough ground, head in her hands, and Belle understood. Carter had killed Charlie, pushed him to his death. Justice to some, murder to others. It was Belle's job to protect her little sister and take care of her. Family first. Belle blinked and Rachel blinked back, a language of their own. What do we do? Belle asked. We need to get rid of everything. Anything that could lead to the truth, that ties to us being here right now. Like the note? Carter raised her head. Help, my name is Rachel Price. It was in Dad's pocket. It's in Jeff's pocket. Her pale eyes widened with horror, rubbed red raw. Rachel looked down into all that nothing. She swallowed, a clicking sound, like her voice was too narrow, crushed by Charlie's weight. I have to go down there. I'll get the note, Jeff's car keys too. His phone. We can't leave that. They'll be able to trace him. I have to move the bodies. What? Carter gasped. Can't leave them out in the open. They'll be found. No one's going to think they jumped, two brothers together. A medical examiner will know Charlie fell backwards, that he was pushed. Carter, didn't you say that the gate into the mine was broken open? They're right by the entrance down there. I'll drag them inside and drop them into the old mine shaft. A second fall to hide the first. Belle chewed her tongue. How far does it go down? Far. Rachel answered. The mine is supposed to be sealed off. It's dangerous, and you can't get down there not without special equipment. It could be months, years, decades, but we can't guarantee they'll never be found, which is why the three of us can never be suspects. You understand? A stranger took me. He cuffed me in his basement for 16 years, and none of this ever happened. Carter nodded, and Belle too. She reached into her pocket, pulled out Charlie's wedding ring. It wasn't warm anymore or cold, stinging at her skin, just an old bit of metal that meant nothing to her. You should probably put this back on him. Belle handed the metal band to her mom. No evidence, right? Rachel nodded, sliding it into her own pocket. You sure you're okay to go down there? Belle asked. Your ankle? I've survived worse. Rachel said, a small smile to show she had, that no one had taken that from her. I can do this. Have to do this. For my family, but I can't do it all on my own. I thought I could do everything on my own. My plan, my reappearance. I was wrong. I know that now, and I'm sorry. I need your help. Anything, Belle said. Carter stood up beside her. What do you need? Rachel's eyes glittered, staring at her daughters, the moonlight picking up the same silver in all their skins. She cleared her throat. We have to do everything tonight, before anyone knows Jeff is missing. I'll get down to the mine entrance. You two walk back to the yard. Take my car, Belle. Keys are inside, engines on. But it's trapped. Jeff's car is... Take this. Rachel picked up the axe, the thing that almost killed her. What if Carter hadn't appeared from nowhere? She passed it to Belle, their fingers crossing on the handle. Break the chain on the gates. Once they're open, you can pull forward. Turn around. Wipe your prints when you're done. The handle and the blade. Throw it back with the rest of the junk. Don't worry about the red truck. I'll get to that when I'm done here. Get rid of everything. Unmaking her own prison cell, so no one would ever know about the 15 years, 5 months, and 25 days she spent locked inside. The man who put her there. The baby she had given birth to. The other man she'd locked up as revenge for starting it all. All of it would be gone by morning. Take Belle's bike with you, Rachel continued, then head to your grandpa's house. The key is under the ceramic toad, Belle said, just as Carter said, Barry. Rachel smiled. My message is in all those books. You need to get rid of them. That's what I was trying to do before you found them, Belle. It's too dangerous to leave. Says what happens, exactly where it happened. You need to get rid of it. Erase the pencil marks in all of those books. Always on the first 50 pages, never beyond. Can you do that? There must be an eraser in the house somewhere. We'll find one, Carter said. Jordan will be asleep upstairs. You have to be quiet. If he catches you, we'll think of an excuse. My dad told me to tidy these. I'll be in trouble if I don't, Carter offered. Rachel's smile pulled wider. I think that's it. No other loose ends that could lead the police to the truth, to what happened here. Belle's heart dropped into her stomach, more space now that the knot was gone forever. Ash! She hissed. Frick! She kicked out at a stone, sending it over the edge. Rachel narrowed her eyes. From the film crew? What about him? Belle ran her hands through her hair, pulling her face tight. He's been helping me. I was investigating you. I was sure you were lying about your disappearance and how you came back. Thought if I could prove it, life would go back to normal. Ash helped me. He has footage of... Rachel limped toward her. What does he have footage of? A lot. Belle shook her head, thinking back. Mr. Tripp saying he gave you $3,000 before you disappeared. The sighting of you in January. We spoke to the store owner. Saw a still from the camera. We have you looking for something in Grandpa's house before you found the hidden camera. Frig! She pulled her hair tighter. We have tonight. The message in the book. In all the books. Me writing it down. Ash was recording. Frick. Rachel covered her face. There's more. Belle dropped her arms, swinging uselessly at her sides. He came with me to the red truck. He stopped recording before we got there, but... Belle? I'm sorry, Belle whispered. Ash saw Charlie chained up in the truck before I sent him away. I'm sorry, Mom. Rachel bit down on her lip. She came even closer, face to face. Belle's eyes reflected in her own. Don't you say sorry either. None of this was your fault. I'm not angry at you. You were right. I was lying to you from the start. I can't be mad that you were smart enough to see through it. Proud, actually. I'm sorry. Sorry I lied to you. Maybe I should have just told you the truth, both of you. I just wasn't sure you were ready to hear it. I wasn't. Belle hadn't been ready. Not until there was no other choice. But she was ready now, and she knew how to fix this. I can get the footage, Mom. I know where Ash keeps it. He saw Charlie in the red truck. I don't think he'd tell anyone, but it won't matter. Will it? Not if there's no proof. I can destroy the footage tonight, Mom. And do everything she'd worked for. All those moments with Ash, small and big. Getting closer until it was far too late to pretend she didn't care. She would still care, she knew that now, but she had to destroy every trace of it to protect her sister and her mom. You sure? I can do it, Belle said. Rachel glanced over at Carter. I can do the books at Grandpa's on my own, she said. I can do that. Rachel pulled her in and hugged them both, 3 heads pressed together under the same stars. We can do this. Rachel wiped her eyes. Family first, Belle said, not a threat, but a promise. Rachel stumbled away from them, to where her phone had dropped, a yellow halo around it from the flashlight, trapped against the rock. She picked it up and stared at the screen. We need to turn our phones off, so we can't be traced here. Turn yours off, girls. Now. Don't switch them on again until you get out of here. Belle switched hers off. Rachel was tapping her screen. Not working. How do I turn this thing off? Let me do it, Carter said, taking the phone out of Rachel's hands. You hold this one, see? She showed her. And then you swipe, like that. Oh, okay. Belle smiled, watching them together. The small mother-daughter moment in this dark and wild place that broke a family and saved another. And the moon had seen it all. Belle handed Rachel the flashlight. You take it. You need it more. We'll stick to the trail. We'll be fine. She glanced at Carter, a small punch to her arm, because that's what sisters did. I'll take care of her. Rachel accepted it, the silver beam lighting up both her daughters. It's going to be okay, girls. I love you. I'll see you later when we all get home. Belle picked up the axe, started to turn, but Carter hesitated, a croak in the back of her throat. Which home? She asked. Ours, Carter. Their mom said. Our home. And that's chapter 47. Okay, but also... No, but Carter has a genuine question, because her mom is still alive. Chapter 48. Ash, I need you. I'm at the McDonald's. Don't bring the camera. Leave it behind. I have to tell you something. Belle waited in the darkness, became the darkness, pressed up against the side of Scroggin General Store, where the street light couldn't reach her. Back in the ant town, just one of those specks she'd seen from Point Lookout. Rachel would still be up there somewhere, dragging 2 dead bodies into Mascot Mine. But the night wasn't over, and surviving wasn't the same as having to live with it. Which Belle would, because a life had already been stolen from her and her mom, and her sister once before, and she wouldn't let anyone take it again. Not Charlie, not the police, not the documentary. Protect the truth, and protect Carter. She watched the entrance of Royalty Inn, waiting. She knew Ash would come, because he cared. McDonald's was the only choice. Nothing else was open past 2 a.m., but didn't matter anyway. Belle wasn't going. All she needed was 5 minutes alone in his room. The hotel door opened outward, glass reflecting the lamps either side, hiding whoever it was. Ash walked out. Belle knew he'd come. He walked towards the parking lot, moving fast, away from her. A black puffer jacket over cartoon patterned pants. Probably pajamas, but it was hard to tell with him. Belle would miss that. Her heart kicked up, watching the wind throw his curly, unbrushed hair behind him as he passed under the next streetlight. She hoped he'd forgive her, that he'd understand, even if he never really would. Belle then peeled herself from the darkness, crossed the quiet street into the hotel. The lobby was empty, only Kosa behind the front desk, sorting papers. She looked up, long black braids slipping off her shoulders. Good evening, she said. Late, isn't it? Belle replied. You know how film crews are, night shoots. Kosa nodded, because she didn't know how film crews were, and neither did Belle. Belle's voice was gravelly, raw, from crying, from screaming, from talking to Carter all the way back to the yard, explaining how their mom disappeared twice, 2 plans intersecting on that day, 16 years ago, and a baby who appeared from nowhere. Why Carter should never feel bad about what she did to Charlie. It had all sounded so unreal to repeat in her own voice. There's dirt on your sleeve, Kosa pointed. Belle picked at it. We're filming in the woods, this reenactment thing. Speaking of, Ash just left here. The camera assistant? Yeah? He messaged saying he'd left the lens in his room, asked me to pick it up. Is that okay? I need a key, sorry. Room 39. Kosa blinked at her. Look, I can show you the text. Belle reached for her pocket. This was the easiest way, but if Kosa didn't give her the key, Belle was going to break the door down and do it anyway. That's okay, Kosa said with a sigh, like she just wanted to get rid of Belle, get back to her papers. I know you've been up there before. Here. She opened a drawer, searched through, tongue tucked in under her teeth. 39. She handed over the spare key. Thanks, Belle saluted her, something Ash might have done. She raced up the stairs, muscles still burning. Ash had probably reached the McDonald's already, but Belle still had time. He'd wait for her, because he cared. Down the corridor, counting doors, up to number 39. She slotted in the key and opened the door, flicking on the light. Boxers on the pillow. Again. She walked inside, the familiar smell of him, her heart grabbing hold of it. Past the pile of his hideous sweaters, strawberries, and dinosaurs, tracing her fingers across. More memories here than just the ones stored on the SD cards. but those were what she came for. Belle moved to the table at the far end, the desk chair and the armchair pushed together in front of it. His and hers. A stack of clear plastic cases on the surface, the memory cards stored inside. She pulled them all out, opened the cases, the ones marked with the red X and those that weren't. One by one, she tipped the SD cards out on the table. Rachel's secrets, buried in those tiny metal strips. Belle had connected them, found her way to the truth, but no one else ever could. She ran her hand over the scattered pile, picked one at random, snapped it in half, and again, destroying the metal chip, and the next one, making a new pile out of the broken pieces. Bent with her thumbs, snapped it with force, until the last one. Except, that wasn't the last one. Belle's eyes fell to a handheld camera resting in Ash's chair, just as much a part of him as his silly hair or his ridiculous clothes, or the way he said, "Oh, too much," or how he could keep up with her like no one else, exchanging unpleasantries. Belle didn't have to destroy it. She couldn't do that, but she needed to remove its memories. She slid her fingers across the back panel of the camera until it clicked and came free. There it was, slotted in, the red edge of an SD card, same as all the rest. She pressed it and it pinged out, giving itself up without a fight. The card Ash used tonight, finding Rachel's message in all the books, their trek to the red truck on Price and Sons logging yard, even though there were no sons left anymore. This card held the biggest piece of the truth, the most dangerous one. She wanted him to record it all, for evidence, but now it was evidence against them. Belle pinched it between her thumbs, then twisted them apart in one quick motion. It snapped into uneven halves, metal entrails stringing across. Breaking them wasn't enough. She had to know they were truly gone. Belle scooped up the broken memory cards lying dead and discarded in her cupped hands. She walked them towards the bathroom, hands over the toilet bowl, and let go. The pieces scattered together, floating to the top, sinking below. She pushed the flush. The black and red shards swirled up, one last dance, then disappeared together down the drain. But she wasn't finished. Some of those cards might have been empty, Ash told her himself. He backed up the footage onto an external hard drive, then wiped the cards to reuse. Now Belle had to use that against him. She found the small black box plugged into the laptop. This bad boy here, Ash had called it, tapping it with 2 fingers. Belle tapped it with 2 fingers too, then unplugged it, dropped it to the floor. Waited for it to land, to lie still. Then she brought her heel down on it. The plastic casing snapped. She stamped again. Right foot, left foot, both feet together, jumping on it. Belle didn't stop. Not until it was in more pieces than she could count. Picking them up, putting them in her pocket. She straightened up. Gasped. There were eyes watching her, but they were only her own, mirrored in the dark screen of Ash's sleeping laptop. Belle moved closer to her reflection. She didn't know if any of the footage was saved on here, and she didn't know the password to check, but she couldn't risk leaving it. The laptop was already open, but she opened it more, bending the screen back, pushing against its spine until it snapped clean off. Ripped out the wires that tried to hang on, pulling the base free. She knew the hard drive was in this part somewhere, under the keyboard. That was why it was coming with her too, tucked under one arm. The only way to know it was all gone was to watch it disappear, throw it in the river on her way home. Now she needed to go. Someone must have heard all of that. The room below could be complaining to Lakosa right now. Some kind of party's going on upstairs. But Belle couldn't leave it like this. She turned over the dead, splintered laptop screen, the half she was leaving behind, picked up Ash's red pen, pressed the tip to the pre-bitten silver apple. "Sorry," she wrote, in tiny red letters, not quite the color of blood. My girl's being very thorough. I hope there's nothing on the cloud, because if not, she broke his laptop for no reason. Belle was the first one back. She watched the clock on the wall. Past 3 now. Her mom and her sister were still out there doing their parts, and all Belle could do was wait for them to come home, flinching at the sounds of an empty housemaid, the howl of the wind against the upper windows, the hum of the refrigerator she'd never noticed before, the patter of her own heart. She counted the dark minutes and she waited. A scrabbling sound at the front door, a shape hovering in the window. Belle pulled it open before they could. "Carter, you okay?" Belle pulled her inside. "Yeah," Carter said, breathless. "Left your bike by the garage." Belle took her into the kitchen, filled her a glass of water. "How did it go?" "Fine." Carter took a long sip, coughing it down. "Took a while, but I got them all." She pulled out something from the waistline of her jeans. A book. The Green Mile by Stephen King. "I kept this one." She looked down at it. "It says we are being kept." "That was me, wasn't it? Me and Rachel?" Belle reached out, unstuck Carter's hair from her face. "Yes. You should keep it. It's a special book." Carter's smile was weak. "Did Jordan wake up?" "No." "Good. You did a good job." Big sisters were supposed to say things like that. Is Rachel... Mom? Carter stuttered, stopping herself. That's okay, Belle said. I've only just started being able to say it, and I've had a lot longer to get used to it than you. Carter nodded. Is she back yet? Not yet, but she had a lot more to do than us. She'll come home. She always does. Carter's fingers danced around the edge of the book, never still, like Rachel. What do we do now? She asked. We wait. Okay. Do you need anything? Belle said. Hungry? I could make you a sandwich or something. Stop being friendly, Carter said. It's weird. Belle laughed, and it took her by surprise, too. The sound. Sorry, just trying to be like a sister. You always were. A crashing sound filled the house, a fist against the front door. Carter dropped the book. Is that her? She whispered. It couldn't be. Rachel has a key, Belle said. It came again. 3 loud knocks, knuckles on wood. Police! Terror filled the whites of Carter's eyes. Stay here, Belle told her, moving into the unlit living room, to the windows at the front. She pressed her eyes to the glass. A lone dark figure at the door, fist raised. She recognized the shape of him. Shoulder-length curly hair and a puffer jacket, splitting his arms into segments. She turned. Carter had followed her. It's Ash, she hissed. I'll deal with this. You go up to my room. Get into bed. Carter nodded, but it didn't shake the terror from her eyes, disappearing up the stairs. Belle took a breath, opened the front door. Hi, she said before he could speak. Kind of late for a house call. Isn't it? Is this an English thing? His eyes were wide and swimming, teeth glowing in the dark. I would have deleted it all if you'd asked me. His voice shook. You only needed to ask. Belle stepped outside, and Ash dropped to the step below. They were the same height now, eyes straight forward, unblinking. I don't know what you mean, she said quietly. Belle. He held on to her name, kept it on his tongue. What happened? We had a birthday dinner for my grandpa, then everyone went home. He tried again. What happened in that red truck? What red truck? The breath hitched in his throat. Where Rachel was, where we found your dad chained up. Belle shook her head. Rachel was taken by a stranger, kept in a basement for 16 years. Belle! Her name, pushed as loud as a whisper could. I don't care about the footage. I don't care about the documentary. That I've messed it all up. I care about you. She also said it, but thank you came out instead. She'd never let someone close enough to care before. Ash had showed her that she could. She didn't always have to pick the way that hurt less. Some hurts were good. Friends grew apart. People moved away. They left. It didn't have to last forever to count. Things ended. This was ending, but that didn't mean it never mattered. Belle, he lowered his voice, are you in danger? She gave him half an answer. Not anymore. Where's your dad now? The police say he ran away to Canada. Ash breathed out, eyes heavy. What are you doing? Protecting my family. He nodded. So, this is it? He asked, a sad lilt, dragging his words down. Belle nodded too. This is it. Okay. Ash turned away. He walked down the stairs, his steps a hollow echo in the dead of the night, reaching into her chest, skipping around her heart. He crossed from their path to the street. It was ending, and he was walking away like he was supposed to. But Belle knew, suddenly, that that wasn't quite it. Wait! She ran after him. Ash turned, and Belle crashed into him, a grunt of surprise. Her eyes found his lips found hers. Hand through his scruffy hair, pulling him deeper, making it count. His fingers brushed her neck, moving up, but the glow moved down. It was goodbye, but it was something else, too. Belle pulled away, just an inch. It wasn't pointless, she whispered, lips brushing his. And it didn't matter. I know. His nose pressed against her forehead. She unwound herself, stepping back. Could have told me sooner. Ash laughed and Belle did too, both of them standing there under the moon. Should I go now? He said, almost a question. Yeah, Belle replied, pushing his shoulders with 2 fingers. He gave her a salute, hand crooked, matching a smile, and he walked away. Belle watched him go, all the way down the road, until he was little more than an outline, misshapen darkness. He left, and that was okay. Ash was always leaving, and leaving wasn't the same as leaving behind. That's chapter 48. Oh. I feel bad for Ash, because he got dragged into this, And I hope Ramsey doesn't get too upset with him. I feel like Ash will understand, that their family has secrets and that maybe some things just stay hidden. I don't know if Ramsey is going to see it that way. Chapter 49. Carter was shivering when Belle climbed into bed, eyes staring like she couldn't remember how to blink, like she'd never been taught. Belle pulled a blanket up over her shoulders. It's okay, I'm here. What if someone finds out what I did? Belle rested her feet against Carter's. You didn't do anything, and no one will find out. We won't let that happen. Carter's breathing was too shallow, too fast. Close your eyes, Belle said. They are. No, they aren't. Just take a few deep breaths. I'm trying. Carter shifted onto her back, eyelids fluttering, struggling to stay shut. Is she back yet? No. Belle glanced towards the window, the gaps around the curtains. The darkness was softening outside, brightening. The first touch of twilight, but she will be soon. She had to, before the world woke up and realized Jeff Price was now missing too. The Price family seemed to have a thing for disappearing, they did. Carter's breath slowed, rattling through her half-closed mouth. It's okay, Belle said. You can go to sleep. I'll wait. Won't let anything happen to you. Carter breathed in and out, almost in the shape of a word. She slept, and Belle waited. Eyes shut because they were too scratchy, and she didn't want to watch as dawn slowly crept up on them, filling the shadows of her room and creating new ones. She waited. The hum of the refrigerator just a noise inside her head now. Imagined, remembered. Carter sleeping too close to her ear. Belle was listening, but she didn't hear. Not until her bedroom door nudged open, shushing against the carpet, silent feet behind it. She opened her eyes, a blurry half-blink before they closed again. Rachel was standing there, in the darkened doorway, watching them. She didn't leave. She stayed. Belle could feel her there, a calmness that reached her in this in-between place. Asleep awake, today, tomorrow, sister, daughter. She could finally sleep, now that Mom was home, now that she was here to watch over them both. Belle breathed out and let go. Rachel didn't let them sleep for long. She came in with coffee at 7:30, sat at the end of the bed, crushed both their feet. Sorry, she shifted, handing one cup to Belle, her favorite mug. Waited for Carter to rub the sleep from her eyes, then passed hers over. Belle yawned. You can sleep again later. Rachel patted her leg through the comforter. How did everything go? All done on my end, Belle said. The footage is gone. And mine, Carter added. For all the books. Good. Rachel smiled, strained at the edges. Belle sat up. Yours? Rachel nodded, a faraway look in her eyes. A deep drop behind them, all the way down the mine. All done, she said quietly. It didn't look like she slept at all, and there was a dark bruise forming on her throat, a blue and red of a dying universe. Actually, not all done. Rachel sighed. There's something we have to do together. Carter? She looked at her younger daughter. We have to decide what to do about Sherry. Gosh. Belle whispered into her coffee. I didn't think... How will we explain Jeff going missing? What about Carter? Sherry's not just going to let you go. She'll probably be here soon looking for Jeff and Carter, wondering why they never came home, Rachel said. But I have an idea. But Carter, I want to know what you want to do. This is the woman you thought was your mom your entire life. I want you to know that it's okay if you care about her. Of course it is. You should be the one to decide. Carter took a sip to give herself time, even though it was too hot. Belle could tell by the tightening of her eyes. Okay, she said, tapping the mug, fingers always moving. Rachel told them her idea, talked it through, and Carter decided. Are you sure? Rachel checked. Once we do this, we can never go back. Carter cleared her throat. I'm sure. Are they going to kill her? Oh, I feel like they're just overcomplicating things for themselves, and we have 2 chapters, or I guess a chapter and 3/4. We don't have enough time. Okay, you know what? We're just gonna read. The doorbell rang at 8:20. One long-held note. They already knew who it was, and they were ready. Belle got up to answer the door. Aunt Sherry, she said, blinking against the morning sun, her eyes craving the darkness again. How are you? Not good. Sherry shuffled past her. Is Carter here? She didn't tell me she was staying over. She made her way into the living room, uninvited. There you are. Come on, let's get going. Not sure where your father is. Did he stay at Grandpa's? Belle shut the front door and followed Sherry. Rachel and Carter were sitting on the sofa, Sherry standing in front, purse swinging from her elbow. Carter, she clicked her fingers, impatient. Take a seat, Sherry. Rachel gestured towards the armchair. She was wearing one of Belle's sweaters, a blue rolled neck to hide the bruise on her throat. That's okay, Rachel. Sherry said her name hard, biting down on it. We have things to do today. Carter has dancing at 12, then we... Sit down, Sherry. No, really, Rachel, that's very kind, but we need to get going. Don't we, Carter? Giving her no choice at all. But Carter had already chosen. Belle passed Sherry, sat on the end of the sofa, Carter in the middle. The three of them against one of her. Sherry was outmatched. Sit down, Carter said this time, through gritted teeth. Sherry looked at Rachel instead, narrowing her eyes. What's going on? She sat, but not really, perching at the very end. Is there news about Charlie? This is about you, Sherry. What you did. She frowned. Rachel, I didn't know you were getting a cake too yesterday. I was trying to be helpful. Not about cake, Sherry. Rachel leaned forward, steepled her fingers. This is about you stealing my daughter. Sherry's eyes snapped open, fighting a gasp. Her gaze flicked to Carter. What are you talking about? She said with a hoarse laugh, pulling her purse onto her lap, using it as a shield. Belle only stayed with us for 7 months after Charlie was arrested. Not that daughter, Rachel said darkly. The baby you stole, almost 16 years ago. Eyes wider still, much too wide above and below. Sherry shook her head. I don't. Yes, you do. Wearing fake bumps so you could pretend she was yours? She was only 2 weeks old when Pat took her from me, gave her to you. Sherry's mouth moved, but no words came out. We know everything, Sherry. Jeff told us. But you've known a lot longer. Tell me, did you always know Carter was mine? You must have. How else would she look like a price? Did you know, all this time, that Pat and Charlie had locked me up? That makes you complicit, you know. Sherry pulled her purse into her chest. She was trapped. To deny some of it was to accept the rest. I don't know what you're talking about, she said, choosing another option altogether. Is this some sort of prank for the documentary? No, Carter said. Well, it's not funny, whatever you're doing, Sherry snapped, rising to her feet. Come on, Carter, stop messing around. You have dancing. She grabbed Carter's arms, tried to pull her up from the sofa. Carter snatched her hand back. No, Aunt Sherry, she said, taking aim. A shift, from shock to anger. It happened quickly. Don't call me that, Sherry shouted, a gobble of spit falling to her chin. I'm your mother. No, you're not. Rachel is. Don't be ridiculous, Sherry, Rachel said, a low warning growl. It's over. Stop fighting it. Jeff told us everything last night. Carter is my daughter. You stole her from me. No, Sherry said, her denials weakening. I gave birth to that girl. She is my daughter, Rachel. Mine. Rachel cracked her neck, set her jaw the same way Belle did before a fight. You wouldn't mind if we asked the police to do a DNA test then, will you? But of course you'll be going to prison for the rest of your life, because Carter is evidence of what you and Jeff did to me. Maybe you didn't know Pat was keeping me, that Carter was my daughter. Not until I returned, but that's not what it looks like, Sherry. It looks like you and Jeff were involved in my abduction and captivity. Then you kidnapped my child. The whole family in on it. Rachel clicked her tongue. I'm not sure you're the kind of person who does well in prison. Sherry sputtered, and the anger became something else. She smacked her hands to her face, sobbed into them. Belle couldn't see any tears. Stop that, Rachel said. There's no time. You have a choice to make, Sherry. The same choice I presented to Charlie and to Jeff last night. Sherry wiped at her empty eyes. Where is Jeff? Where's my husband? He's gone. He admitted everything to us last night and he left. I gave him 2 options. Either I tell the police everything, get Carter tested, and you, Jeff, Charlie, and Pat all go to prison. Or I give you another choice, because you're family. Rachel paused. You leave and never come back. Never contact us again. Start a new life somewhere else. Charlie took that option a couple of weeks ago. So did Jeff, last night. He's gone. Gone where? Sherry wailed. He followed Charlie, Rachel said, to Canada. Probably there by now. He wants you to go with him. Asked me to explain everything so you both could start a new life together. Neither of you wants to go to prison, do you? Sherry swallowed, a shudder as she forced it down, eyes straying over to Carter. No. You sure, Sherry? She nodded. Good. Jeff will be happy. You can't contact him, but he's waiting for you. You have to listen closely, Sherry. Things you have to do to make this work. First, you need to pack. Just a small bag. Can't take everything. Then you'll go to an ATM. Jeff said to use all the cards, max them out. Get as much cash as you can. You'll need it. And you won't be able to access your accounts after this. Sherry stared down at her hands. Are you listening, Sherry? Yes, she croaked. Rachel pulled 2 items out of her back pocket. He asked me to give you these, his phone and his car keys. Rachel dropped them into Sherry's hand. His car is parked on the street outside the cemetery. He left it for you, and said it's less conspicuous than yours. Once you've packed and you have the money, he wants you to drive to Barton in Vermont. His friend Bob, Robert Meyer, lives there. You remember Bob. Sherry's hand closed around Jeff's phone and keys. Bob will help you, okay, Sherry? Tell him you and Jeff are in trouble and you need his help. His phone number and address are in Jeff's phone. You can turn it on when you get closer. I've written them down for you, all in case the battery dies. The details still memorized from her time in the red truck. Bob will get a new passport for you and Jeff. New names, new identities. You'll have the cash to pay him. Need to wait with him until they're done. Jeff didn't have time, so you need to do it for him. He was going to stow away on a plane this morning because he wasn't sure what choice he'd made. Wanted to leave the country just in case. I got the police involved. But you'll both need new identities if this is going to work, so now you have to help him. Okay, Sherry sniffed, like it all made perfect sense. When your IDs are ready, you'll drive to a John Mayer airfield just outside Newport, the same place Charlie and Jeff went to. The address is on the same piece of paper. When you get there, you need to dump all your bank cards and old IDs. Any trash can. No one will find them. Rachel was a good liar, when she wasn't lying to Belle, when she needed to protect her daughters. You won't need them anymore, and you won't want any trace of your old life following you there. Then, you need to get on a small aircraft that's crossing the border. They'll ask to see your passport for the flight plan for the authorities, but that's fine, because you'll show them your new ID. It'll pass all their checks and no one will really know it was you. Okay, Sherry? Yes. A muscle twitched in her chin. Once you land, wherever you land, you make your way to New Brunswick. You're looking for a small town in the north called Dalhousie. Jeff's waiting there for you. Charlie, too. It's a tiny town. You'll be able to find them. It's a nice place. Beautiful mountains. Quiet. You'll be happy there, Sherry. A new life. The life the three of them were supposed to have. Rachel, Belle, Carter. And now she was giving it to Sherry. But once you're gone, Sherry, you don't get to come back. Whatever happens, if we hear from you at all, I'll have no choice but to go straight to the police. I'm giving you this chance. Don't waste it. Sherry dropped Jeff's phone, keys, and small piece of paper into her purse. Any questions? Rachel stood and Belle helped her, weight on her good ankle. Carter rose too, and Sherry's attention drifted up to her. Her lips twisted a downward curve. None of this is my fault, you know. I love you, Carter. Only ever tried to do the best for you. That's not a question, Carter said, fiddling, making mountains into valleys in the fabric of her sweatpants. Sherry's eyes weren't empty anymore. She forced one tear to the surface, a slow crawl down her cheek. Do you really want me to go? I raised you. No, you didn't, Carter said, voice small, keeping it almost to herself. Belle raised me. You can choose your family, and I choose them. I'm sorry. Sherry wiped the tear away, let it trail down her finger. It's time to go, Sherry. Rachel nodded her head just once. Not unkind, even though she had every right. Sherry didn't say another word. She knew she was beaten. That she'd lost. Belle thought she might have put up more of a fight, like a mom was supposed to, bared teeth and glittering eyes. Sherry hugged her purse to her chest and turned towards the hallway. They followed, Rachel leaning on Belle, staggering beside her. Sherry pulled open the front door, paused on the first step. She turned back, eyes only for Carter's. Bye then, she said, her lips threatening to go, taking her eyes with it and her feet. Bye, Carter said, the first crack in her voice. Her eyes told the truth. This goodbye was harder than she thought. Maybe she'd cry later. Maybe they all would. They stood in the doorway, their family of three. All that was left now. And they watched Sherry leave. Down the steps, down the street. Carter broke free, leaning out for that last look, holding on for just a little longer, waiting until she was really gone. What about Grandpa? She asked, to hide it. I know Charlie started this, but Grandpa played a big part. He made his choices. Rachel wrapped her arm around her younger daughter's shoulder, her other hand reaching for Belle. He did make his choices, and I hate him for what he did to us, but it seemed almost cruel to punish an old man who can't remember any of the horrific things he's done. Rachel bit down on her lip, ghost imprints of her teeth when she let go. He doesn't have long left. We won't visit, but I'll keep paying for Jordan to take care of him. Some comfort in the end. Saving him, but not really saving him. He'll die alone and confused. I think that's enough. Do you? Belle nodded. Carter looked at her sister and nodded too. They had decided these things together, as a family. Make their choices, to undo all the ones made for them. Across the street, the door to number 32 opened. Miss Nelson standing in her doorway like they stood in theirs watching them. A mother and her two daughters, though no one would ever know that. Not even her, no matter how much she watched. Belle raised a hand, waved, and Miss Nelson waved back. Stop being nice, Carter hissed. We're supposed to act normal. I'm sometimes nice. They turned to her, her mom, her sister, the same look in their eyes. Belle smiled. You're right, that was physically painful. Rachel smiled, twirled her finger in the ends of Belle's hair. You'll live, Belle. And Mom was right. She would. That's the end of chapter 49. Goodness gracious. I did not think that they were going to, like, blackmail Sherry into doing that. I'm curious if she would have tried to blackmail both Jeff and Sherry with this, had Jeff not, been yeeted off a cliff. Well, we have one more chapter to get through. Chapter 50. What do you think happened to Charlie and Jeff and Sherry? Ramsay waited for the answer, sitting in the Royalty Inn conference room, haloed by the bright soft box light behind. Belle was on the couch, cushions arranged neatly around her. She wasn't alone this time. Mom was on one side, Carter the other. Her knees pressed against the coffee table. A full bottle of water they weren't allowed to drink. 3 glasses this time. And the marble chessboard, still missing its queen. Belle had it in her pocket, was going to put it back when they finished. She didn't need it anymore. I don't know, Mom said, taking this one. It was their exit interview. At least that's what the clapper board had said. The last scene of the reappearance of Rachel Price, with what was left of the Prices. Ash was here somewhere, hiding behind the glare of the lights, wearing that ugly purple sweater again, the one with the dinosaurs. James was behind the big camera, Saba with the microphone tripod, its fluffy gray head hanging over them. It's been 2 weeks since Jeff and Sherry were last seen. Ramsay steepled his fingers. Almost a month since your husband Charlie went missing. Do you have any idea where they are? Why they left? I don't know where they are, Mom said, holding his gaze, blinking just enough to make it believable. The police are convinced Charlie left the country, ran away to Canada. That Jeff and Sherry did too. They found evidence to support that. Like it was planned somehow. The 3 of them. As to why, I can only guess. And what is your guess, Rachel? Ramsay pushed. She took a breath, like she needed time to think. My reappearance put a lot of strain on the family. A lot of stress, a lot of readjusting. But it also came with a lot of scrutiny, a lot of questions, and a lot of attention from the media. She paused, holding it for effect, like Belle had told her to. I think me coming back stirred something up. I don't know if they were involved in something illegal, but I think my return was a catalyst, part of their decision to leave, why they felt they needed to. Belle, you heard your dad and your Uncle Jeff arguing a lot even before I returned, didn't you? Yeah, Belle said, picking up the thread. A lot of fights. Always about money. That's why Dad actually agreed to do this documentary in the first place. He was desperate for the money. I don't know if that had anything to do with it. Her mom nodded, taking the floor again. We don't have the answers. I've tried, wondering what secret they shared, what made them want to leave. Maybe they thought I knew something from back before I disappeared. Maybe that would explain it, but I don't. I guess we'll just have to hope they all come home someday and we work through it. What about you, Carter? Ramsay turned to her. Have you heard from your parents at all since they took off? Carter sat up straighter. Not since the night of Grandpa's 85th birthday. And how does that make you feel, that they've gone? That they left you behind? It's sad, Carter sniffed. Whatever the reason is, must be pretty bad for them to leave their 15-year-old daughter behind, no contact. I miss them and I hope they're okay. But they chose to leave, and I like to think they left me behind to protect me somehow. I'm still dealing with all this. It's only been 2 weeks. You've been staying with your aunt and your cousin? Yes, Mom said, answering this one. Carter is family too, and she will always be welcome to stay with us for as long as she needs. We're happy to have her, aren't we, Belle? Ask me in front of the camera, why don't you, so I have to be nice, Belle smirked. Carter punched her in the arm. Ramsay smiled, watching the two of them giving the moment space. So, it's another mystery what happened to Charlie and Jeff and Sherry? He followed up. Mom nodded. Another mystery. Circling back, Ramsay leaned forward, which meant a difficult question was coming. We don't have answers to the main mystery of your disappearance. The man who took you, Rachel. You identified Philip Alves after the incident at your home a couple of weeks ago, when you broke in. But police have since discovered that Philip Alves was in Mexico the day you were released, when you reappeared, so it can't be him. Any comments on that? Yes, Mom said, like she'd expected it, because she had. They'd prepared answers for any questions Ramsay might ask. In that moment, I was sure it was him. It was dark, and I only ever saw my captor in the dark. He never got close. Maybe it was just a fear when I saw him attacking Belle, and instinct took over. I was wrong. It wasn't Philip Alves. The man is still out there somewhere, and now I'm not sure I'd even recognize him, if I do see him. Ramsey nodded, fingers cupping his chin. Are you concerned at all that you'll never have the answer? That the police will never find him? They hadn't prepared for this one. Belle slid her hand along the couch, nudging her little fingers against her mom's leg, letting her know she was right here. It didn't matter if the camera saw. Mom looked at her half a second, and that was enough. If you'd asked me a few weeks ago, I might have said yes. I thought I needed that answer, that I couldn't live without it. But now, I think I'm okay with the not knowing. I've been a mystery myself for a very long time, the past 16 years, so I think I'm okay living in mystery. Her voice cracked, and it was real. Belle could tell the difference. But I won't live in fear anymore. I did that for a long time, and I fought my way home, back to my family. It's time to move on, answers or not, and I have these two here to help me find my way. Ramsey sat back, a smile that was all eyes and no teeth, holding the three of them in his gaze. And that's a wrap, he said, bringing his hands together, clapping, holding it out to them. James joined in behind the camera, Saba too, and Ash, emerging in front of one of the lights, glowing, winking when he caught Belle's eyes. Belle clapped too, sent it his way, then Carter, then her mom. The room came alive with the sound of their scattered applause, and no one wanted to be the first to stop. They clapped, not just because it was ending, but because it mattered. Because it had changed them. All of them. You're leaving today? Mom asked Ramsey out in the parking lot. James and Saba were loading their equipment into the van behind. Ash was struggling to carry one of those large metal trunks, knocking into the hotel door with a crash. Yeah, Ramsey said. Our flight is this evening. Belle and Carter hung back, leaning against their mom's car. Well, Mom held out her hand. Goodbye. Thank you for everything, Ramsey. Ramsey took her hand, but he didn't shake it. Held it between both of his. No. Thank you, Rachel. We'll be in touch. About the film. Ash dropped something else. Do you need a hand? Carter asked him. Yours clearly don't work very well. Ash smirked. Starting to sound like your cousin. Ramsey's eyes flicked over to Belle. I know you don't think you're slinking off without saying goodbye to me, Belle Price. Caught me, mate. She sidled over, replacing her mom, who went to help Carter. So, the documentary is done. It is. Not going to be the plotty, twisty story I thought I had a few weeks ago, he said pointedly. Belle dropped her eyes. Ramsey knew. Of course he knew. He didn't know everything, the whole truth, but he knew as much as Ash. He'd seen their footage, before she destroyed it. He knew Rachel was lying, that a stranger hadn't kept her in a basement for 16 years, that the answer was closer to home and the Price family had secrets. He just didn't know what. The film that could have been. Ramsey was watching her. No, he continued. It won't be the plotty, twisty story I thought I wanted. It will be something better. Something with a human element. A quieter story, about a mother and daughter finding each other again, overcoming their differences and doubts. A journey that changes both of them. Not as shocking as the film I once had, no. It probably won't make as much money. It definitely won't, but it's a story worth telling. Belle nodded, unsure of what to say. Got something for you. He lowered his voice, pulling something out of his pocket. A memory stick. I've been a filmmaker a long time, he said, almost a whisper. I always make sure the footage is backed up to the cloud. Belle's heart stalled in her chest, dropping to her gut. Lips open around a phantom word. Oh no. The footage. But Ramsey's eyes were kind. Not a threat, but a gift. He held the memory stick out toward her. It's gone now. I deleted it all, permanently. Everything you and Ash shot together. This is the last remaining copy. Thought you might want it. He handed it over. Belle took it, her fingers brushing his. Ramsey had the footage. He could have had that film he wanted. The one that exposed Rachel. The one that pitted her and Belle against each other. Plotty, twisty, shocking. But he chose not to. He made his choice. Thank you, she said, pushing the memory stick into her pocket. Ramsey smiled. It's your story, not mine. He held out his hand. Well, I guess this is goodbye then. I don't think so, mate. Belle batted his hand away. She leaned up with both arms and hugged him. Ramsey returned the hug, holding tight, but not as tight as her. If you ever need anything, sweetheart, just call me, yeah? He said. I know I'm halfway around the world, but I'm always here, okay? Okay, Belle said, muffled against his jacket. Ramsey pressed a kiss to the top of her head, buried in her hair. Right, go on. He pulled away, eyes glistening. Get out of here before I start bawling. He wiped his eyes and waved his hand. Go on, I'm serious. Get out of here, mate. Can't be crying out on the street. Belle laughed, stepping away from him, but she couldn't get out of here, not quite yet. Ash! He was standing right there, not helping, like he'd been waiting for his turn. What? He walked over, flares swishing against the concrete. I'm very busy. Too busy for this? Belle dropped her backpack to the crook of her elbow, reached inside for the yellow fabric. She handed it over. I went back to get this for you. Ash unfolded the cropped t-shirt and his face lit up. Pugs, not drugs, he said, turning it around to show her the sad, chubby pug. I love this little guy. I'm gonna wear it all the time. Of course you will, she said. You know, you're ridiculous and strange and pretty annoying, actually. She took a breath, unlocked her jaw. But I'm glad I met you. Ash pointed the pug at her. Flattery will get you nowhere, Belle. That was the last one. Yeah. Ash balled up the t-shirt, holding it to his chest in front of his heart. I'll miss you, he said quietly. Really? She sneered. But I'm unpleasant. Ash laughed, pressed the t-shirt to his mouth. Thoroughly unpleasant. Belle stepped forward. She prodded him in the shoulder with 2 fingers. I guess I'll see you, she said. I mean, we probably won't. I live in a different country, but... He stopped himself, eyes shining as they found hers, glazing over. They would both cry about it, tears that felt happy but tasted sad. Just not here, not now. He reached out, pushed 2 fingers against her shoulder. I guess I'll see you too. Belle, Carter called. You ready to go? I'm ready, she said, keeping it to herself. Mom blipped the car, opening the driver's side door. Carter hesitated. Where do you want to sit? She asked Belle. Belle paused, eyes floating to the front passenger door to the back. I'll take the back seat. She climbed in, sitting here, because she could. The back seat wasn't the thing that hurt her. It was the men who had chosen to. It's always men. Sorry, that was an aside. Her mom never abandoned her, so it couldn't hold that over her anymore. And really, it was just a seat, same as the front. Mom started the engine, pulling out onto Main Street. Belle turned to watch the film crew standing there, waving, shrinking behind them, until there were just specks and stick people, then nothing. Ramsay said it was her story, but it was his too, and that made her think of something. A memory that turned over, became something new. Ramsay filmed a documentary last year. It didn't get picked up. They said it lacked a human element. He shot it in Millinock, Maine. But that's the same place you... Mom blinked. Belle watched her in the rearview mirror. It was you, she said. You were Lucas Ayer on Twitter. Left a comment telling Ramsay to look into the Rachel Price case. You're the reason this documentary happened. Mom shrugged. I saw the film crew around town, got scared that someone might spot me or recognize me in the background, so I laid low. But it got me thinking that a documentary could be useful. I wanted to see Charlie have to lie on camera, pretend he had no idea what had happened to me. But also, money. That if I came back, they'd offer me more for my side of the story, that it would keep us going for a few years, so I tweeted him. Didn't think it would work. I guess I was too good of a mystery to miss. You told me you don't understand Twitter, Carter said, feet up on the dashboard, legs too long. No, that's still true. TikTok is the most confusing, though. Why is everyone so loud? Carter laughed. You just need to turn your volume down. I showed you already. The buttons on the side? There's too many buttons, Mom muttered. There's literally just 3. A squad car was parked ahead. Police Chief Dave Winter outside, writing up a ticket for someone. Dave spotted them as the traffic slowed. He waved, badge glinting. Mom nodded and Belle pressed her lips into a smile. She'd let Dave out of his promise. He had been right. He owed Belle nothing, and Charlie even less. As long as he stayed far away from the truth. Carter stiffened as they drove past. Mom noticed. Anyway, she said, I thought that interview went really well. Carter shrugged. I don't know. I think I took too long with my answer, that my face gave it away whenever Ramsay said Jeff or Charlie's names. What if they can tell I'm lying? What if people watch it and figure out that I killed them both? Carter, Mom stopped at a red light and turned to her. I don't want to hear you say that, even think that. You didn't kill anyone. Trust me. Carter pulled her legs back, tucked her hands between her knees. I did, though. Listen to me. You did not kill anyone. Charlie pulled Jeff over the edge. He killed himself. But I pushed Charlie. I killed Charlie. Mom breathed in, held onto it for a long moment, then turn signal ticking, counting it down before she let it go. No, Carter. You didn't kill Charlie. I did. What? Belle said, mind reeling, doubling back, going for her heart. What are you saying? Mom's eyes were on the road, not on them. Jeff was dead. I thought Charlie was too, but he survived the fall. Woke up when I was dragging him through the mine. He was in a bad way, couldn't move, couldn't really speak, but his eyes were open. He begged me not to do it. She coughed, sliding her hand down the steering wheel. He didn't survive the second fall. What? Carter's hand went to her mouth. You said you wouldn't lie to us anymore. Belle stared through the back of her mom's head. If she was telling the truth, why was she only saying this now, weeks later? I'm not lying, Mom said, keeping her eyes to herself. That's what happened. Carter didn't kill anyone. Carly killed Jeff, and I killed Charlie. There was a shift in Carter as she said it, almost instant. Belle watched it happen from the back seat. A lightening in her shoulders, a brightening in her eyes, a new ease in the way she held her mouth. The way the air passed through, not quite so heavy anymore. And Belle understood. Maybe Mom was lying to them, one final lie. But if she was, then that was why she did it. To keep Carter safe. Not from the police, but from her guilt. And if that's what she was doing, then it was a lie Belle could live with, could forgive. A truth she didn't have to know. One last mystery of the great disappearing Rachel Price. The kind of thing a good mom would do. Mom pulled into the parking lot, backing into a spot. So don't say that again, Carter, because it's not true. You didn't do anything wrong. She turned off the engine and reached across, losing her fingers in Carter's copper hair. Okay? She said, tugging at a strand. Okay. Carter pressed the word into a smile, wrestling her hair back. Maybe she'd even be able to sleep in her own room tonight. Not that Belle minded, except her little sister did kick in her sleep. Legs are way too long. The spare room was now Carter's, and Mom had moved back into her old bedroom. New bed, new mattress, throwing out anything Charlie had touched. Right, come on. Mom unclipped her seatbelt. We have paint to buy. Not more paint, Belle growled, climbing out. Do you like eggshell or oatmeal or Dove? It's all white, Mom. Just pick one. Have you seen the swatches she's put up on my wall? Carter emerged from the car. Says I can choose, but at least 3 of them are the color of vomit. Girls, quit bullying me or you're both grounded, she grinned. If you ground one of us for anything, Belle said, it should be the number of times Carter says frick. Frick off. Carter tried to trip her, standing on her heels. They laughed. Carter's laugh sounded like Belle's, and Belle sounded like Mom's, fitting together, like they belonged. Carter! A voice yelled across the parking lot. They all turned to see where it had come from, Belle stiffening, her bones locking. But it was just Carter's friends from school, standing outside Rosa's Pizzas next to the hardware store. Carter waved. Can I go? She asked Mom, but her eyes flicked to Belle's, waiting there instead. Belle dipped her head, tilted her chin. Of course you can, she said, saying more than that with her eyes. Go on. Thanks, Carter said. I'll see you in there, Aunt Rachel. She corrected herself, people passing on their way to the cars. Carter ran away from them, disappearing as her friends reformed around her. She left, and that was okay, because Belle knew she would come back. Carter would always come back. Whether she was just going over there to say hello to her friends, or even if she did go all the way to New York for dancing school. The people who loved you, the people who really cared, they would always come back. Sometimes they even came back from the dead. Well, guess it's just you and me, kid. Mom hooked her arm through Belle's, heading towards the entrance. You okay? What are you thinking? Nothing, sorry, Belle said. Actually, it was something. I was thinking I would message this girl, Sam, the one who gave me the bracelet with the skulls. She used to be my friend. The last friend Belle ever had, before she pushed everyone away. But she was ready to be someone's friend again, now that she knew how it worked. That it didn't matter if they drifted or someone got hurt or it didn't last forever. It still mattered. Yeah. Mom looked at her with a knowing smile. You should. Maybe invite her over sometime? Belle nodded. She might do just that. Mom picked out a shopping cart, wheeled it towards the door. We should get some bookshelves, too, for the living room. I'd like that. Anything else you want? Mom said, glancing down at the list in her hand. There wasn't. Belle just wanted to be here, with her mom, looking at 1,000 shades of white and pretending to see a difference. Because it wasn't about the paint at all. It was about them, a mom and a daughter. Learning all the ways they could find each other again. Fit back together again. Trying until it was like it never happened. Like no time had been taken from them at all. They'd get there. They were already well on their way. The automatic door sprang open for them, and Belle helped her mom push the cart through, riding one of the wheels. They crossed the threshold and walked inside. The doors slid shut behind them, taking them away with the midnight shush. They disappeared, but this time, they did it together. And that is the end of the reappearance of Rachel Price. I think the book is really good, but yeah, I feel like they could have cut like 4 chapters out of this book, and they could have tied it up a little bit nicer. That being said, though, it's still a good book because the rest of the book is really, really good. It just doesn't stick the landings, but I do hope you guys still enjoyed it. I do really recommend her other work. I had a lot of fun. Thank you guys for listening. I love that we guessed like half of the things that were going to happen. I love reading with smart cookies like you guys. Thank you for sticking with me through this. And yeah, till the next time.